So today I'm going to do a healing, and I'm wanting to do it for, feeling lost. So I'm just going to open up to my guides' guidance. And so I'm getting just a feeling of feeling really small. So this will be a healing for any time that you were made to feel small or insignificant. Feeling insignificant. And small. Unimportant or forgotten. I'm seeing a child, maybe 3 years old. And I think this is So I think this will apply because I think adults have a tendency to think that children are unaware, that they aren't like intelligent beings just because they don't have the same communication style and social awarenesses that adults have, and they can kind of be very dismissive towards children in terms of having anything of substance to bring to the table in the same way that adults do. And I've heard other stories, so I know I'm not alone in experiencing this. And I think that is what the healing energy is coming in today to address. It's a kind of ageism, really. And it really stems from adults needing to feel like important and in the ways that they kind of falsely esteem themselves in society. And, in the sense that they're like, oh, well, I'm the oldest in the room, or oh, I'm the most educated, or oh, I'm blah, blah, blah. Instead of, whatever. Instead of just being present and engaged, there's kind of these other coping mechanisms that adults have that can be basically projected onto children who don't look at things that way yet. So I'm wanting to bring in energy to it's very interesting. Energy of self-recognition. The ability to see oneself without needing it to be mirrored from the outside. So this would be for anyone who grew up in an environment where the outside wasn't accurately mirroring you back to yourself. So their own, stories and misperceptions kind of got in the way of their ability to see you correctly and therefore mirror you back to yourself correctly at that early developmental age. And so this is bringing in the correct self-perception, ability to see oneself as though it had been mirrored to you correctly through divine, loving, clear eyes. Wow. It's bringing up so much sadness. So this should really help with anyone who has the tendency to look to others to self-validate. Because I'm seeing now that same child like looking to others for approval. And we're rewiring that to look to yourself for approval. It feels quite comforting. Is there anything else? Oh, that's where the feeling of lost was coming from. Wow, that's fascinating. I think I'm going to do these in bite-sized healings. Well, I don't know. I was thinking to allow them to integrate. But there's more that wants to be addressed here. It's also, there is some energy of self-approval trying to come in. A self-acceptance, self-understanding, self-knowing. I think this will I'm just getting the sense of really severe isolation, like really severe neglect, to the point where there's like a loss of even a sense of self. It's very alone, very abandoned, self-abandoned, or abandoned, just abandoned by the others around them. Yeah, I don't know. I think this would apply for people who grew up very alone, if not physically, like emotionally, really unseen by those around them. Either because the other's perception of them was so distorted, or they just weren't paying attention. But either way, there's some sort of intense isolation that this is addressing. And maybe it's in past life, but it's definitely a almost excruciating abandonment. Or it could just be that it's such a young age that so what it's causing is like a self-seeking. It's like seeking to find oneself. Like, where am I? Like, it's not even looking for attention or for food or like what you would think of as needs. That's why I'm kind of curious about it. Is that it's like it's seeking for the self. And there's just such a loneliness associated with it. I think it's during whatever developmental phase there's a learning about oneself versus like something else, maybe a self-identification. If there's a part of development that's where you're learning about yourself, this is recognizing that and putting it into alignment what should have happened, so that you can see yourself and know yourself is the word that is causing me. Know yourself. Feel yourself. To know yourself, sense yourself, feel yourself. I'm wondering if this could also be for people who grew up in environments where there was a lot going on, and so empathic people would resonate, where you can no longer feel yourself because you're just feeling everything else. There might be multiple situations for why someone would be feeling this, going through this. But it's coming back into harmony now. I feel much better, much more cohesive. There's still something in the sacral chakra that's trying to shift. It's related to the self-knowing. And I do think it has to do with interacting with your environment. I think it does still have to do with mirroring, where maybe it's feeling like you don't have an effect on your environment, where that natural like cause and effect helps us learn and understand things. So like we tell a joke and someone laughs. We could have had non-responsive parents who didn't respond much, or something like this, because there seems to be it created some kind of wall where we don't even want to engage with the outside. Healing anything around a lack of responsiveness in our environment growing up, or a hyper responsiveness on the contrary, where maybe the reactions didn't make any sense. That really helped. That shifted out something. So that's all I'm gonna do for today, but that definitely stabilized the sacral chakra. So let me know how you go with that.